One thing I want to say is I think what's really important, and I think couples who want to become a team, I think it's really important for them to really figure out, like you said, what they're good at. Because these are things that I'm not great at, and some things that you're great at.
Yeah.
And then we combine. So then you're doing this and this, and I'm doing the other parts, which combined just makes us like amazing throughout. There's a score sheet. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Instead of excellent, good, excellent, good.
Yeah.
I'm filling in the gaps.
Because it also just so happens that the part of the process that I just described that I love, which is nurturing clients and talking to them and helping them understand the process, and is the part that that's not Kamil's favorite part. So it just so happens that our favorite parts are different of this process. And so when we decided back in January, we did a little retreat, just the two of us, and we did a lot of business planning and really just hashed everything out on flip charts, and we filled the room with plans. We talked about our target client, we talked about our marketing strategy. We really just hashed everything out, and it all came together of like how it could work.
Welcome everybody, I am Kamil Sarji, your host of Just 2 Minutes, and today we have Ashley here. Ashley, you want to tell us about yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Ashley Sarji. I'm your wife. I'm Kamil's wife.
Done. That's it. Okay, thanks for joining me today for my 50th episode.
What? It's such an honor. Thank you.
Yeah, I saved the 50th for you.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Yeah, we're excited today. We're going to talk about working in real estate as a couple.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen many videos about that. I thought it'd be great to talk about that. But first, we have the Just 2 Minutes questions.
Oh boy. All right. You want me to start your timer?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Look at that. See that? Teamwork. That's what I'm talking about.
All right, we got
Working a team. Oh,
counting down.
Countdown? I'm not ready. I'm just kidding.
5, 4, 3. Okay. Go.
Do you think that ABBA would survive nowadays in this vicious music industry?
Huh. I don't know. Yeah, sure. Yes, I do. Actually, I do think so, because you can see how they have the musical Mamma Mia that's based on their whole catalog of music, and it's actually been tremendously successful in the world. So, yes, they would. They will, and they do, and they have.
Okay. When you're with a group of friends and they're like, there's a 50-50 chance that I have to go to the bathroom. What do you think they're actually saying? Are they 40-60? What do you think?
Wait, so I have to go to the bathroom, or somebody else?
No, someone says that
Someone
to you.
says they have, someone that I'm in a group with says they have 50-50 chance of having to go to the bathroom. So my rule of thumb is if you're close to a bathroom, you should always try.
Okay.
Because you never know when you're going to be next to a bathroom. So I don't know.
But do you think they're honest about
I think
50-50?
they probably do have to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
They're more like 100%. Yes, they have to go to the bathroom, because if they're feeling it at all, then you should go.
Okay.
That's how that
fair.
works.
That's fair. Do you think 50 Cent is more of a clubber or a window shopper?
I don't even know what that means. What does that mean?
Window shopper, or find me in the club.
Oh, you mean which side of himself does he identify more with? When you and I saw him on New Year's Eve a couple of years ago, it was in the club. So let's go with that.
Okay. Oh, I mean, if that's the case, then why was he only performing for 10 minutes?
Yeah, at midnight.
At Foxwoods?
Yeah, on New Year's Eve. Because it was
If
New
he's a
Year's Eve and
clubber.
he lives like 5 minutes away, I think. That's why.
I know you like planting. Do you like planting? Is that the cue?
Yeah, our time is up.
All right. Ashley,
Yeah,
what'd you think of those questions?
they were weird, as usual.
Okay. So, real estate. You've seen me work in real estate. I've talked to you about different deals. You've seen my life in real estate. And then when you got your license last year, did you expect it to be what you saw it from my side of my stories and stuff?
I had a corporate career for almost 20 years prior to deciding to start doing real estate full time. So while in my corporate career, I watched Kamil build his business in real estate and was always really curious. Every time he talked about it, it was always like, oh, that's something I understand, because my career was in financial services. So there were some very distinct similarities between financial services and real estate. Both were really more the legal aspects and the behind the scenes and some of the operations type stuff that I had been involved in. I had some familiarity with how the transactions worked based on my experience. And so I always felt like I had something interesting, a different kind of perspective to add or a different way of looking at things. And so I always appreciated when you would talk to me about the deals things that you were going through, because I felt like I had a little bit of perspective. And I also helped you study for all of your tests, including your broker license when you got that a couple years ago. I was learning it along the way. So I think it was 2 Christmases ago. I have an aunt who lives in West Virginia who's also in real estate, and she's just, Ashley, why don't you get your real estate license? And so I think even though Kamil had mentioned it to me a couple times, that was the first time where I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Actually, I think I could do that, and it could actually put me a little bit more in control of my work and my day to day, and because I was feeling a little out of control and in that moment in my career. And yeah, so that I got my license and started working. But to answer your question, now that I've given some background, yeah, it's very much like it was not surprising.
But was it like what you expected?
Yeah, it was what I expected.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the market fluctuations and changes require different sides of oneself depending on the market. But no, none of what I've experienced in the last year and a half is surprising.
Okay. Because I talked to real estate agents, and male and female, and I asked them, hey, have you thought about your partner also joining you? And sometimes there's hesitation. Sometimes they're like, oh, I've talked to them. So I've talked to you. What made you hold back, or what was your fear? Was it fear, or was it you're not ready yet, or you knew what?
How did I decide that I wanted to be your real estate team partner?
No. How did you decide, okay, I'm going to get my real estate license?
I said that story already.
I know, but were you said that you were told, like your aunt mentioned, that how come you don't have your real estate license, but what was holding you back from doing it? Because I've mentioned it before.
You had mentioned it before, yeah.
And this is for, just so you know, this is for the agents who are trying to talk to their partner about getting their license.
Wait, are you talking about being a team or
No,
us
I'm just talking about,
in general?
yeah.
Okay. Just about getting my license. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're saying, as my partner, my husband, you had said to me several times before I made the decision, hey, I think you'd be good at real estate, you should join. Yeah. I think it was really important for somebody other than you to recognize that in me.
Okay.
The fact that my aunt in West Virginia, who's also a real estate agent, we were having a conversation about real estate in her area, and I was really interested in hearing what she had to say. And she's like, why don't you have your real estate? I feel like that was an important moment for me. It was not just you saying that I should get my license. It was somebody else, somebody kind of outside my normal sphere.
Your trust and
That
his family and stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So then you went for the license.
Yeah.
Got your license. And then when did you and this guy Kamil, it's weird. It's like talking about being a couple working as a team in real estate. It's hard for me to talk about myself in the third person.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah.
I think
because I'm interviewing you. I don't want to be like giving out the answers, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So ask me a question.
Okay. So when did you decide, or when was it decided, or how was it decided that what if we join forces
Yeah.
now that you have your license?
So I did a couple deals on my own in the beginning, which I think was a really important thing for me to do, to feel it out. Because I think it was really important for me to understand my capacity in a transaction and get a feel for the parts of it that I felt that I could do without thinking, and then the parts that were a little more challenging for me. Because I'm always interested in learning about myself and how I can be better at whatever I'm doing, and I've always been that way in my career. So feeling it through a couple times, I was like, in my body, when I get to the point of the negotiation, for example, it would just cause this like pit in my stomach, and would be the kind of thing that would I'd be in the midst of it, and I'd go to sleep and wake up in the night thinking about it. And it was just causing anxiety for me that didn't feel like like it's not my magic, right? My magic in like where I really thrive and where I really can shine for clients is the interaction, the experience from the beginning. So like nurturing them, helping them understand the process, communicating what happens next, really working with buyers and sellers on the process, on helping them feel safe and secure, knowing that all of the steps are being taken care of, and hand holding along the way. The negotiation and the interaction with the other agents it's a natural part of the process. It's something that is required, but it's just not my favorite part. And it was causing a little stress in me, and I didn't feel super great about that. And I think it was one day, and we have a commercial about this, but if you haven't seen it, one day I got to the negotiation part and I was like, I hate this part. And I said that, I think I might have said that out loud to you. And you were like, wait, what? I love that part. And then it just clicked for us that
It took 10 seconds. We
Yeah.
were staring at each other,
And-
trying to figure
right.
out like what's going on right now.
And it was like, wait, why don't we work together? Because it also just so happens that the part of the process that I just described that I love, which is nurturing clients and talking to them and helping them understand the process, and is the part that's not Kamil's favorite part. So it just so happens that our favorite parts are different of this process. And so when we decided back in January, we did a little retreat, just the two of us, and we did a lot of business planning and really just hashed everything out on flip charts, and we filled the room with plans. We talked about our target client, we talked about our marketing strategy. We really just hashed everything out, and it all came together of like how it could work.
Yeah.
And
one thing I want to say is I think what's really important, and I think couples who want to become a team, I think it's really important for them to really figure out, like you said, what they're good at. Because these are things that I'm not great at, and some things that you're great at.
Yeah.
And then we combine. So then you're doing this and this, and I'm doing the other parts, which combined just makes us like amazing throughout. So there's a score sheet. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Instead of excellent, good, excellent, good.
Yeah.
I'm filling in the gaps. You're
Yeah.
filling in the gaps.
And we can both like really not that we don't have to do some of that other stuff. We both still do the parts that aren't necessarily our most highest strength, because we try to manage time efficiently also. But we have each other's support, we have each other's back. We've both done it all at this point and been through every part of the process. So it's a lot easier to kind of keep things on track because we're supporting each other. And I think it works really well now. In the beginning, we had, of course, our like bumpy moments,
Yep.
which I think if
Is super important.
it was really important.
Super
It was
important.
really important to experience a little bit of the pain of
Yep.
like what, so that we could figure out what's not working and how we could tweak it. And thankfully, we're both really open to improving and changing and growing together and learning about each other without being defensive. So even though it felt a little defensive at some points, like in the beginning, it was a
Yeah.
little challenging.
Yeah.
But I think once we worked out all the bugs and we were actually able to talk about it openly and learn from our experiences so far up to that point, and we still continue to learn, and we just make adaptations to our process based on that, like we can really start to refine, and things are moving a lot more smoothly now. But it took a little bit.
Yeah. I would say probably.
We've only been doing it for what, 5 or 6 months now, right?
Yeah.
6 full months.
6 months, maybe 7.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was definitely important in the beginning to know what our strengths are. But before that, I was nervous to like get into business with you because I don't want this to ruin our relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How'd you feel?
Yeah, I think I was really nervous that it would just consume our personal life and that it would just be all we ever do or think or talk about.
It is all we do and talk about. But
So
I think we make it fun.
Yeah. I think what's cool about it is that when it works the best is when we can go show some clients a cool house or a couple houses, and then you and I, after we're done, we go have dinner together and we talk about, how that went, and then we laugh, and then we're together, and it blends into our life, and we can have fun. We can have fun and work at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And support each other.
So another thing that I wanted to say is I think the difficult part when you weren't in this was when we're at dinner or when we're somewhere and then I get a text or a call that I have to take, and like you didn't understand the world,
Yeah.
like that it consumes every
No, I
minute
did.
or-
I understood, but I was really annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Like before, yeah. So yes, that's an important distinction. So before I started in real estate, I worked in a corporate job that I could turn off on the weekends. But real estate is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's just the reality of the situation. So there are times that we get calls and texts and emails that have to be responded to, and we have to stay on top of those things because our clients and our business partners are relying on us. And so I don't get annoyed about that anymore because it's also part of my life. We both have to do that. That said, however, I think it is really important to make sure that people know that boundaries do still have to be set. And it's really important. And we're still learning. We're not doing this perfectly yet.
Yeah.
For sure. Like where you have to know, you have to have awareness about what's going on in yourself, and you have to take the personal time that you need to stay healthy. So if that's your workout time, that's your spa time, that's your whatever, you need to make sure that you do that in order to keep yourself grounded and your nervous system regulated, which is something that's really important to me in the other part of my work.
So I know that some people have, let's call it the burnout, right? Mm-hmm. You're doing this 7 days a week, almost 24/7, because you're dreaming about it.
Yeah.
So I think it's important. And some people they have their time. So it could be like after 10 days, you burn out. Mm-hmm. So before you get there, have a spa day. And luckily we're there for each other, where you're like, I need a spa day. Go do that. And I'll take care of everything else. Or I need a spa day. Like whatever it is that
helps you to come back to yourself.
Yeah. And that's something we recognize and we nurture and we like.
And it's also really important that you recognize it in yourself first. So, and that's something that took some time for me to realize too, is that like I can notice in myself the signs of dysregulation when I need to take a break. And taking a break for me is yoga, is breath work, is the spa is lovely, of course, or even just like going and getting my nails done or going and getting my hair done, like things like that are like maintenance things that kind of help bring me back to myself. And it doesn't have to be a full vacation. It's just I need a minute. And that's the power of also having a team, is that we help each other out in that way. When you go to the movies, that's something that you love to do, and I won't say all the other things you like to do, but that's you take your time too. And that's really important to the partnership. Definitely. That we're recognizing when we need time and that we're taking that. Yeah.
But the cool thing too, that we get to spend time together.
Yeah.
That's like amazing to be able to work, especially when you get to that part, like sometimes you're really stressed out about something, to have you to be like, hey, and I just go to you and I hug you. And all those stress melts away. Aww. And we have that for each other.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. So it's not like I have to wait to get home to tell my wife how stressed I am about this one situation. No, it's like you're there and boom.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we go have lunch outside and we put our bare feet in the grass. That's what we do.
What's it called?
Grounding.
Grounding. So I want to talk about home versus office. Some people like their home office. And some people like separating those two. Tell us about that, which, having that is better, or having work from home, work at the office. What's better, you think?
So the only thing I miss when I'm in the office is my cat, my sweet Rex. I would love to have him here. But yeah, it's nice to be able to be in the office and have a space here that I can focus on work when I'm here.
Yeah, I agree. And again, like everybody's different. Every couple is different. They're dynamic, the way they work together. So this works for us. I don't know, it might or might not work for others, but I just wanted to say that. Another thing I wanted to talk about is, as we started working together, in the beginning there was some tension. Like, you would think it's kind of separating the home and office, or home and business, home and work. So the home, yes, like, Kamil, why don't you do the laundry? I'm just doing an example. I'm just saying an example. What do you?
I'm like, where are you going with this? Okay.
You didn't do the laundry, or you said you were going to do that and you didn't take care of that. So that was going into the business, the work. And I think, I'm telling you my perspective, maybe you have a different perspective, but I felt like I had to like separate that and be like, no, this is different. The home chores and all that stuff is different from work chores and that. And once I felt like we went to the next level, which is identifying, okay, with this home stuff, it's okay to say that or expect something from the other, as opposed to work, where it's like, hey, you said you were going to do that. I'm going to take care of it. Oh, thanks for reminding me. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's more of, not like we don't help each other at home, but we're helping each other here. It's for a bigger, higher
That's
cause.
a really interesting perspective, actually. I've never really thought about it like that, because it's our partnership that we're focused on. We're focused on our partnership, and we're focused on being a team.
Yeah.
And I'm very familiar with having had a corporate career for so many years, like how a team is supposed to work. And nobody ever certainly you could be the type of person that points fingers and blames people, but I never worked that way. It was more just, hey, how can I show up and be helpful toward our common goal? And that's how I feel in our partnership is, what can I do to make sure that we achieve our goals? But I think it's sometimes when you're in a marriage or in a partnership, in a personal relationship, it's not really as natural, or maybe it should be natural, but maybe it's not really as natural to look at it that way. Or maybe you can fall into, I'm sorry, I'm processing out loud, but
Yeah.
you can fall into that pattern, I think, that a lot of couples do of this is your responsibility, this is my responsibility, instead of, so it's almost, and I feel like what the way we operate at home actually works better now that we're also working together at work. Because I think the benefit may have been, and I never really thought about it until you just said that, is that maybe we're looking at it through that perspective where we have to be partners in every single way, and we have to care about our common goal, which is getting to the next thing in life. And we have to work efficiently together in order to make all of it happen, because we're really busy all the time.
And sometimes I get this awesome, great feeling that I did something or negotiated something or got something to the table that was really difficult, and telling you about it. And you're like, oh, wow, that's awesome. Thanks for doing that. And then, because it feels great for me to do that. It's kind of, hey, by the way, I did all the laundry, folded them, put them away. And you're like,
What?
that's awesome. So it's like that in the business for me.
Yeah.
It's like chores, but not really chores, but it's, I want to do these things, and you want those things done too.
Yeah.
Like I said, like you're putting bread on the table, and I'm doing that too.
Yeah.
And we're both putting bread on the table.
Yeah.
So
By working together the best way that we can. Yeah.
absolutely.
Totally.
I want to go back to the comforting each other, like in stressful situations. Do you think that, because I think we do it pretty well, where it's stressful for you, I can see that you're stressed, and I try to help you out. But do you think couples take it out on their spouses, or feel like the spouse is not doing enough work as much as they're doing in the business? Or do you feel that? Do you feel like I'm doing more or you're doing more and it's not fair?
Yeah. I think you could get resentful. But again, I think that's what I talked about earlier about being aware of yourself and where you're at in your capacity, and making sure that you're taking care of yourself and you're in your whole self, authentic self, because that kind of behavior of like resentment and like questioning or finger pointing that we talked about before, I think that comes from just a nervous system response that is deflecting from that reality of you're just spread too thin, or you're not fully in your own capacity.
Do you think also it's
I don't know if that makes
like respecting what the other person does, or respecting what they do and appreciating what they do could help that?
Yeah, but I think it's a lot of like transparency. You have to communicate to know, to make sure that you're like what the other person is doing in order to appreciate it. So it's not in a
blindly saying they're doing great.
In a partnership, it's like you have to be open to discussing your side of or your process, so that the other person understands it and knows like that things are happening, and like what boxes have to get checked and like in what order things have to go. And we practiced really hard to get the handoffs right, because in the beginning I feel like that was a little clunky for us. It was like,
I want to talk about that too in a little bit.
yeah, but that was really important. It was like, okay, we can't just do the thing. We have to actually talk about it, and we have to debrief after every step, and we have to make sure that the other person is aware of what's going on. Thankfully, I think that's another benefit of working in the office is you hear me on the phone, I hear you on the phone in here. Like when I finish a conversation with somebody, I might come in and be like, hey, this is what I just learned, blah, blah. So that we're staying on the same page, but we are doubling our capacity by both kind of being present for the client.
Hey, Ash, I talked to the attorney on this
just did this
deal.
thing. Right. And you can sum it up in a sentence.
Yeah.
And then we also have a great CRM, which keeps track of everything that we do with all of our clients too. And that helps a lot. So we don't have to do a play-by-play of every single situation. We don't have to go through it step by step. But I think we've gotten really good at communicating with each other about what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that took some practice. We didn't get that right at first because we were both really comfortable working independently and doing our own thing and living inside our own heads. It's also really helped me to actually get to talk about things. I think that's made me a more confident person generally. Just to
talk about
because
things like with
what I just said. I'm on the phone and I might finish a conversation and want to come in here and just give you a quick recap of what happened.
Yeah.
Like actually saying things out loud and having somebody to say things out loud to has been tremendously helpful for me and my confidence. So it's not
interesting.
Yeah, there are all kinds of ancillary benefits to this. Like it's really good.
But it's not easy. I think it's a lot of work. Yeah. And like you said, so in the beginning, we were trying to identifying our strengths. Great. So in the whole buyer life cycle, someone buying a home or a seller selling their home, the whole life cycle's different parts where people have their strengths. So we looked at that and tried to figure out, all right, this is where I step in, this is where I step in, this is where we both step in, this is where. So we outlined that, and I think we had a tough time in the beginning communicating that with the client.
Yeah. Like, why do I get 2 realtors instead of 1? Like, it's not that simple. It's not as easy as just like you've got 2 people working for you. From the client's perspective, they needed to be informed on how to work with us because the way that we work is different.
Yeah.
So we were also working out our technology where like we had a group text or we had just individual text at first. Like if it was somebody that I had started working with and then we bring you in and it didn't fully make sense, like why you were being brought into the picture or vice versa, I was being brought into the picture. We eliminated a lot by
combining
and it was honestly like a lot of trial and error too and like feeling it out with clients at first because it didn't flow the way that the way that we envisioned. We needed the right technology to be able to make it flow. And so now we have a CRM that we work in and we have a single phone number that we both have access to view that communicates so we can communicate with clients that way. And
because you were getting texts and you were telling me about stuff and I'm like, oh, okay.
You're not seeing things.
Yeah, I'm in the dark.
Yeah. Because my part of my job is managing the communication with the clients and managing like appointments and setting up tours and doing all of that. And so it's important. That's stuff that's important for you to see, but you don't actually have to be directly involved in it. Yeah. So when we figured that out, it was like, okay, we don't need a complicated group text to manage this part. We can just streamline it in this way so that you have visibility, but you don't have to actually participate until it's time. But then when it's time, you need to be able to take over that part of the conversation without disrupting the client. When we get to the offer part, that's when you step in and you've been introduced to the client already. You've already worked with them to an extent. Yeah. You've been at showings and things because you had so much value to the home search process. We're recognizing things and like calling out questions, and we were getting feedback from clients that like they really loved having you at the showings with them.
Yeah, because you have 4 eyes looking.
Yeah, you have, and we're really fun too. I don't know if you guessed this, but we are actually really fun to be around. Clients were saying that too. So we get to the offer process, time to make the offer, and you would be stepping in, doing the communication with the agent, and then communication back with the client, and we do a group conference call. So it was like the handoffs were a little clunky because then before we implemented this technology, clients were then you were texting them or calling them from your phone that they'd never seen before at that point, and that felt a little strange to them, I think. So it was just a lot about like gathering information and like figuring out what works for clients. And then when we were able to recognize that technology existed that could help us with that, and we were able to implement that, it's been a lot smoother since then. But we had to do some trial and error to figure it out.
Definitely. And I think when we first started, it was weird because we were trying to figure out how we're going to work this, and we thought we got it, and then we improve and improve. And I think in a few months, we're going to improve even more and evolve into this big thing.
And that's what's amazing about it, is that because it's the two of us, and we both, again, are like really interested in personal and professional development and constantly improving, like we're open to making the changes that are necessary to be the best that we can be. And we want our clients to have an amazing experience when they work with us.
Yeah.
So it's like we're willing to do what it takes to make that the reality for everyone that we work with.
Yeah. And I think something too that's unique about us is we really care about our clients.
Yeah, we do. I don't know if that's unique. I think generally like agents really do say that they care
but as
about
our
people.
like I think our niche is the younger couple who's buying their first home, or
we tend to like transitions, I think.
Yeah.
And clients that have really enjoyed working with us are transitions. So it could be like first-time home buyers who are moving from renting and they're or somebody who's gotten a divorce, or somebody who is downsizing. Maybe we've had lots of clients now who are selling a home and moving into a condo, for instance, or the other way around. They have a condo and they're moving into their first single family home. The clients that are attracted to us are in transition.
I think it's because we've experienced that
So many times.
and watching, like in our lives,
Yes.
and then watching them and knowing that this is going to be their home, that their future, it's waiting for them. We created that. We made that happen for them. Yeah. I think we're really passionate about that. And I think that's what drives us. I think if you go into this as a couple and you're like, let's make money, as much money as possible, that is great. I mean, you will, but you have to have a why. And I think we found our why because we really get like emotionally attached to the outcome of that person or persons buying the home.
Yeah. Helping them find their home.
Yeah.
And feel at home while doing it. So it's really just this concept of what it means to be at home. And together we nurture that for our clients.
Definitely. Do you think that we missed anything else? I'm trying to look through my notes here. I think... Anything else I missed? Can't even read my... I wrote down like covering for each other and showings. I think, having each other is great. And ideally, I like going together to showings or doing things. But sometimes we do have to split up. Yeah. And it's good to have that because sometimes appointments happen at the same time and it's good to have each other to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do want to talk about the weekend. Weekends is different for us because agents work on the weekends too. But we try to make it fun. Like Saturday, we're like, all right, let's go. We got all these homes to look at, or if we're doing open houses where we have them lined up, and we try to make it like a different day from the Monday to Friday. I would say Monday to Thursday because that's when really all the action happens. And then it like slows down on Friday and then Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, I look forward to those times. Those are really fun.
Yeah, it is. We have a good time.
Sometimes we're like, okay, we have 15 minutes. Let's go to 7 Stars, get a cappuccino real quick. We go run and get it. Okay, let's go to the next place. All right, we're looking at home. Oh man, look at this. The ceiling is doing this, and what do you think is happening here? And we're like detective work at a house trying to figure out where is this, what's the source of this issue?
Water. That's what I thought you were going to say.
It is pretty much water, but sometimes it's insects or rodents and
Is this right? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what's
We've
your
seen
favorite?
some interesting things.
Yeah, and so much more to come. It's great having you as a partner,
Oh, thanks.
and
Yeah, it's great being your partner. It's
Okay.
great having you as a partner.
thank you.
Yeah, I think what? Are you trying to shake my hand? What's happening right now?
It's like I have to do that at the end.
Oh, yeah? We have
Yeah.
to shake hands?
Yeah, but actually, how do people find you and Kamil, or follow you on social media, or how do people?
Yeah. On social media, I am Ashley Sarji, Realtor rooted in wellness. And we didn't even talk about that this time, but I did a podcast about that the last time. Haven and Harmony. I also have another business called Haven and Harmony, and it is focused on somatic wellness, education, breathwork. I teach yoga classes online and at a vineyard for a couple more weeks for this summer. And Haven and Harmony is the name of the business. So you can follow me in both places. I'd love that.
By the way, like we were, like Ashley has that, and it's unique what you do, and I love having something different as in the business because you use that a lot in real estate. It's awesome.
Yeah.
You're also studying to be.
Yeah, a house therapist, feng shui consultant.
Yeah.
I'm starting some training on that. I'm really excited about that. Yeah, I'm always learning something new so that I have a lot of different perspectives and modalities to work with my clients.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Happy 50th episode. And
Happy 50th episode to you. Oh, thank you. I love.
My agents got a squad, we all in the zone. In-house help, so they ain't doing it alone. They focus on clients, negotiating win, while the back end's handle, man, that's how we spin. I hand them business, watch them all climb.